say, when we tile a bathroom or something, your tile could be your organization, your structure, but the grout is your culture. We don't pay attention to it.
Just happens to stick in between.
But if it's not right, if it's not like, there's spacers that you can use now to make sure that your grouting is aligned. There are things you can do to make it align. But if you ignore it, the tiles are going to come undone. And that's often what happens is that you can focus on your branding, which is what people outside of the organization see, which is what it looks like from the outside. But your culture is what it feels like on the inside.
Hello and welcome to Meet Your Inspiration podcast with Meri and Rich. Here we're talking about inspiration, motivation and empowerment. Our guests are ordinary people who became extraordinary, and with sharing their stories, we want to empower you to become the person you want to be and to go beyond your dreams.
This morning we have a special guest, Blessing Enakimio, and we're going to share her story. She has an amazing background of helping and supporting businesses. Blessing, welcome. Thank you for coming this morning. It's great to have you with us.
Thank you for having me.
So, I will start with one question.
Sure.
Blessing, this beautiful name. What is the story behind this name? I never met anyone with name like that, and I absolutely was, I love it when I heard your name.
Okay. It's a very common name in Nigeria, where I'm from originally. So my dad said, when I came along, that was such a blessing. He wanted to name me Blessings, but the name generally is Blessing. So in our language, Igbo language, my second name is Ngozi, which also means blessing. So I am named Blessing twice. Oh, wow. So that's how he got away with the multiple blessings by naming me Blessing Ngozi, which means blessing. So,
and that's your fate, obviously, because you are blessing for lots of businesses and people that you touch later on. But beautiful. Yeah. So have you been born back there, or
I was born in London? I was born in London. My parents were here. My siblings were in Nigeria. They were here studying. So I was born here, stayed here for a few years, then went back to Nigeria, obviously, to meet the rest of my family. My dad was headhunted out there, so we went back, we relocated, stayed there for most of my childhood years, and then came back as an adult myself.
Okay, and you haven't gone back?
I do go back quite often because I do a lot of work out in Nigeria.
Okay.
The company's incorporated out in Nigeria as well, so I do travel for work.
Did you study over there as well?
I did. I studied there, but did my primary, secondary, a little bit of university there, but then came here as well and did some more studying here, my university and postgraduate qualification.
Did you always knew what you want to do? How your work career start? What was the beginning?
Okay, I think you get told what you're supposed to be. And for me, I was told I was going to be a doctor because my mom said she wants to be mama doctor. She wants to be the doctor's mom. So my path was, you must be a doctor. I didn't like physics. I failed physics in my GCSEs. I don't know how I was going to get into medical school without physics. But I remember thinking, it's always, is it a doctor, engineer, or lawyer? Those are generally the three things that you're told you're allowed to be. I did argue a lot, so maybe I could be a lawyer. I came from a family of lawyers. My granddad, a lot of people in my family are lawyers. So that was another option, but I don't know why that wasn't presented to me. But when I had the chance to come back to the UK, I applied for biomedical engineering in Imperial College. I got my admission, but by the time I came over to start studying, the course didn't run because they didn't have enough people for that cohort. So I then applied for psychology and I got in. So I started my degree in psychology here because I had in Nigeria, what I was studying was, if I can remember, either animal science or something silly. Anyway, so I did psychology. I didn't get to finish because I was self-funding myself at this stage. I did first year, second year, third. By the third year, I missed one of my main practical sessions, which meant I had to repeat the whole year because it was a prerequisite.
Oh, wow.
And that meant I couldn't go in as a part-time student anymore. I now had to be full-time, which doubled the fees, self-funding. I didn't have student loans or anything. I couldn't, so I dropped out of uni. So that was it, my half-baked psychology degree. I just got into work. I worked full-time, then with Ofsted the people that inspect schools. I was working as a help desk. I think I started off as an administrator, then rose in the ranks as you do. So I was managing the help desk. So all inspectors that inspect schools, I'm the one that they call to help with their payments and stuff. Then I got the responsibility of looking after the contracts department's training. It was just an opportunity that came up and I put my hand forward. I'm always a yes. When it comes to opportunities, I say yes. So I started running the training programs. Then, of course, budget cuts come in civil service. And I thought, why don't we do it in-house? I can write the programs, So I went off to learn how to write training programs. I got certified as a training practitioner. And so I started developing in-house training, brought in, I don't know if you remember MVQs.
Yeah.
So I brought in MVQs into the organization. I became an assessor, the verification. I went through the whole process, got the organization to become an accredited body to deliver the vocation. So that was a big win for me. But then I had always had interest in education because before then, in Nigeria, when I had a job, it was within a primary school. My first job in the UK was within a nursery. So there was always an element of education there, which I think maybe I should have gone into education. Let's put it that way, because learning, just the whole aspect of learning was exciting. So when I had the opportunity through my career to carry on learning as you do, and I A-pooled my learning, which is where you your prior learning is accredited into a certificate or a diploma or something. I carried on through to the point where I was able to go back into university, and I now did a master's in education. And I felt one with myself. This is who I am. This is what I'm about to, to become, so to speak. I carried on in my working career, did a couple of teaching programs, moved on. Part of your training is conferences. So you have to organize conferences for the organization. So I got involved with that's how I got into events, by doing those conferences for the department, for the large organization. I did away days. I loved it. I loved it. Fast forward, I came to Kent. I got married, came to Kent in Ashford, and I worked in different places, KCC, the college. I had my own hairdressing business. I did a catering business. I did all sorts. I'm just a hustler. You've got to feed yourself.
But what was you just starting the businesses, or how it's coming? It's obviously haircut,
I think
catering. There.
My mom was probably like me. Let's put it that way. She had in Nigeria. She studied hairdressing here, so she was qualified here as an international hairdresser. So when she went back to Nigeria, she set up her own hairdressing clinic and a salon. Okay. And then off the back of that, she then had an academy as well. So I was exposed to a lot of skills as a child. Where she ran training programs, so of course I had learned how to. I qualified with her. She had another enterprise that bought drinks wholesale and retailed them. She became the massive distributor for Coca-Cola in our area. She was the bee's knees for Coca-Cola. So I was exposed to that. She had a catering school where people came, and she wasn't the one teaching. There were other people who teaching people how to cook, how to bake, so I was surrounded.
So you're just constantly learning with all these different things.
I was just exposed to it. So you come back from school. I go from, so I don't go home. I went to her place of work, which was 3 floors of people learning. So, of course, I'm either learning how to sew or learning how to cook. Or I was exposed to it. I was lucky enough to be, I can't lie.
No, but that's a gift. For sure, it is a reason that you are that successful today, and you've been involved in so many projects, because to grow and to see all this around you, and actually it's in your house, it's the best.
It's just what it is. And I think you can't be what you can't see. So that's why I expose my children to my work, because it gives you options. It gave me options. So when I came here, it wasn't a case of, let me apply for a job and wait till I get a job. Whilst I'm waiting to get a job, let me make a job, know, and that's always...
That's a great mindset.
That's always been me, and it still applies to me today. So if I identify a problem, my first instinct is to solve it.
Is that probably the reason what you're doing the most nowadays to help the companies is where it comes or where the idea came? Because
I think it's over time, going through my career path, I landed as an organizational development consultant within the now CCAM, Southeast Coast Ambulance Service. When it merged and became CCAM, because it was, I think, 4 different trusts that became one, and the job came up and I applied. It was a rigorous interview, and I got the job. The job was made for me. It was a dream job because you didn't have a job description. Your job was to travel around Kent, Sussex, Surrey, find problems, fix it, make an organization. Of course.
And that was within the, what aspect was that to create? So that was within the ambulance service?
Within the ambulance service, and now CCAM. It was to create a new organization. That was the job, to make it an organization. So everything from corporate induction to leadership development to the structure of staffing, everything was within, my remit to do. Now, how come, you might say, what's the correlation there? Yes, I had done my full CIPD qualification, which is the Chartered Institute of Personal Development. So I've done the qualifications for that beforehand, and my experience. And I think that's the thing. It's not linear. Change isn't a straight line. And some people are lucky, or maybe that's their path, and it's just one straight line. But mine is, I call it Jeremy, higgledy-piggledy, you do what you've got to do to get to the next step and the next step. And my path led me to that. And then I found that it was my superpower I don't know if you've heard of the First Principle Foundation, where you see things and you unpack it to its core and then you build it back up again.
No.
That's what I love to do.
Yeah,
I like to. So
how would you do that? So if you look at like a business, where we're talking about maybe integrating a business, or you're doing problem solving. So first of all, you go in and you have to observe, you have to look around. So what are your steps? Would you say?
My steps are literally come in, like you said, it's observing. First of all, what is it that we're here for? Because often what I'm called in for might not be what the problem is. So the first step is to observe, see what there is, go back, speak to people if that's okay, because sometimes it isn't. They might not want the staff to know that you're there. But then there's the engagement. So I make sure I engage. Know what the ideal state organization is, the visioners, the leaders. What is it that they're trying to achieve? I need to know what it is you're doing and the why behind it, because sometimes what they want to achieve might not align with their why or their purpose or their original strategy. So we need to unpack that. That's why I said we have to unpack things, figure out what it is we're doing before we start doing. Then I have a framework that I've developed, which is the 5 W's framework for organizational culture, which looks at 5 W's. So the first one is the work. What is the work? What does work mean? So to a cleaner, work could be making sure the room is clean. To another cleaner, it could be making sure that the cupboards are aligned, that everything is in alphabetical order. So we need to define work in that context. What work was last year might not be what work is this year, because, AI has come in, someone has left, we've taken on a new staff, but we need to define what work is and making sure that the work is aligned again, back with the purpose of the organization or the why of the organization. The next W is workflow. How does that work flow? When I do what I do, how do I pass it on to you? How do you pass it on to the next? Who do I report to? Is my working line manager the same as my management? Is there a metrics? What exactly is the flow here? How do we do what we do? So that brings in the processes. Are there bottlenecks that we need to address? Do we have to do it that way? Is that the best way to do it? So questions like that.
Because sometimes we've always done it for years this way. It doesn't necessarily mean it's the right way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily mean. So there might be an easier way, there might be a quicker way, there might be a cheaper way, there might be a more efficient way. So we look at the workflows. Then the next thing is the workload. So how much workload does each worker have? Is that right? Is that enough for them? Can someone do more? Can someone do less? So we look at the workload. Then after the workload is then the workplace. Now, look at the way the world is. A lot of people are working from home, hybrid, remote. People are working in different countries, from different countries, So what does workplace mean for your organization? We need to look at that, because what it was before, since COVID now, it's changed. So we address what the workplace looks like, and how do your policies apply in those workplaces? Do you have multiple workplaces? Do you know what is happening? What's the culture around those workplaces? And then the final one is the workforce itself. So when you bring all that together, what do you have? What's the asset you have in your people? What can you achieve together? Are you aware of the power that you have with the workforce that you have? So those are my sort of, that's the framework I have designed that I use to work, and it serves the
And that
purpose.
must identify so many weaknesses and opportunities for improvement to bring that
Big
together.
time, big
And
time.
I think one of the things you just said, and I find it fascinating, is like the integration between hybrid working and global working, and how each and every person then reports back.
Yes.
So their work is still input into the organisation. I know obviously if it's data input, or it's being creative and you're producing a presentation, well, that can just be putting forward. But how you bring that together with the people and make sure that it's clear communication between each person, I think is that's quite a difficult challenge, I think, to make sure that everyone's doing the right thing.
Big time. It's important as a manager who maybe has never managed a team and is now responsible for managing the global team, is aware that time zones might be different, cultures might be different, the way people report things are different. So it's being clear. What are the clear routes of communication that have been agreed, not just dictated? It has to be agreed that, oh, I've sent you an email, why didn't you respond? It's 9 o'clock where I am, or it's this, or you know what I mean? Being aware of the difference in cultures across the globe as well. So that cultural intelligence is a very vital thing that comes up when we look at workplace.
And I believe it's playing quite vital role as well, the culture, and especially even international, but even inside the organization. We had one guest back in the time, and he was saying that because everywhere everybody talk about workplace culture and etc., but don't think that people actually dive in. And I think we've got mutual people that we know, one win and done, which are really good about that. What is your vision and thought about the company culture? What do you think about that?
I would say, when we tile a bathroom or something, your tile could be your organization, your structure, but the grout is your culture. We don't pay attention to it.
Just happens to stick in between.
But if it's not right, if it's not aligned, there's spacers that you can use now to make sure that your grouting is aligned. There are things you can do to make it align. But if you ignore it, the tiles are going to come undone. And that's often what happens is that you can focus on your branding, which is what people outside of the organization see, which is what it looks like from the outside. But your culture is what it feels like on the inside.
It is.
It's not the poster on the wall. It's how I feel about Monday. Oh, it's Sunday night. I have to go to work on Monday. Oh, that's a sign.
Yeah.
Or I can't wait to go to work on Monday. That's a sign. So it's that underlying, unseen, shall I say, energy about your organization.
It is,
that we don't pay attention to, but it determines the outcome of everything.
Would you agree with me that the people are the biggest asset of a company?
Big time.
Yeah.
Your biggest asset is always your people. It doesn't matter if it's only one person, 2 people, 3 people. It doesn't matter how much we use technology. People still have to adopt that technology for it to be useful. So the biggest asset is your people, and your culture wraps around everything. And it's how your people feel in your space whilst doing your work. And I think it's something that we must pay attention to.
I'm finding it absolutely amazing when we visit few businesses and places and to see that connection, because it's something that you just see. And for me, it's very important that people just to have this simple communication, which may start with good morning in the morning when they walk in. Let's say we talk senior people, the little things to know about you. And I'm very impressed by some of the people we interview. They know their people names, families, children, and they're getting they want to know and they want to understand them as much as it's
Making it their
possible.
business,
Do you
isn't
think if a business is a bigger one, let's say you've got 300 employees, how can you do that?
That's where your managers come in, so they're like mini yous. They become touch points in the organization. So part of your remit as a manager should be being a touch point. So if the managers don't understand your culture as a founder, as a leader, then your staff are not going to know. Because if they don't have direct access to you, who do they have direct access to? You have to make sure that that person is well equipped with whatever that culture you are trying to embed is. So I think it's important to organizations to make sure that they have those managers as touch points. So when you're recruiting or inducting, that cultural message, that underlying energy must be translated. They must align with it. If they don't buy into it, they can't sell it. So I think I find when running leadership training or anything around that, you find if you don't have buy-in from those managers that are the touch points, that's where things start to shift a bit. So it's important to make sure that's in place.
And did you have the opposite to have, or to see in your experience, to have managers who actually are a bit more, how to say, communicating, being close to the people rather than the top?
Yeah,
it's not
and that's very
aligned.
healthy. But that's actually very good because they're the ones who have access to the people, and that's okay. It's always good if you can have people who are better than you. Because then you can do 20% and they're doing the 80. You put them forward. You put your best soldiers forward, don't you? So if that happens, that's very good because it means you can drive change quicker. You can get things done. Performance is ramped up because you have people who are really singing and dancing and they get it. So that's an amazing thing. If you're lucky enough to have that sort of situation, oh my goodness, pay them more.
So it's always interesting because I always think like at the end of the day, the managing director or the CEO, they're sort of like the head, the big mouthpiece for the business, and they create that initial impression. Or they might be the founder.
Yeah.
But the founder also has that incredible passion for that particular business.
Yes.
They've created it and set it up, and they've got to transcend that onto the whole team all the way along, and making sure that and it is a passion and a communication and the art of like a operations director and the operations team and the financial team and the marketing team is everyone has to just integrate, but they're all having to purvey the same passion and drive, aren't they, for that same business?
Big time.
But it's so important to keep not just hitting goals, because a lot of people, it's just like, production department, hit this goal, hit that goal, meet this goal. We're not doing this. And like they end up pushing people and rather than encouraging people. And there's a big difference between pushing the people and bringing the people towards what your goal is.
Big time. And I think that's the main thing about organizational development is our practice is not so much about being the police. I use this analogy. If you break down on the road, the traffic police, their job, if they come, is to make sure that the road is safe for the users.
Yeah.
They're not there to help you. But the AA is there to either fix the car so you can get on your journey or take you to where you need to go. Yeah. So that's my difference between HR and OD. The traffic police is HR. They're there to police.
Yeah.
But OD is there to help you get to where you're going. Do you see?
Yeah.
So as an OD practitioner, my job is not to hold the whip to say, you're not doing this right. This is the law. You're not, that's not my job. My job is, where are you? Where do we need to get to? So if you do your job well, you do yourself out of a job because you empower the leaders to do it themselves, if that makes sense. So it's about creating that element and it becomes part of your day-to-day work, which is back to those 5 W's. If you make sure that every individual has the responsibility of embedding the culture, if we make sure that every manager knows what that looks like, if we make sure that every senior leader knows what that looks like for the managers, if we make sure that the founder knows to remember to think about the people and not just the operations and not just the bottom line. How the people feel comes back to the bottom line. It's going to affect your balance sheet. If it's not one person's job over here to make sure everybody's happy, like Minister of Happiness. No, it's everybody's job. Do you see? So it's integrating it into the organization, up, down, and left to right. You know what I mean? And that's what OD is about. It's like I said, it's the grout in the tile.
It is, and it's interesting how that brings out, because I always think, the communication within a business is also so important as well, because like otherwise you end up with the business sort of like a lot of little bits of gossip and news goes through the business through gossip. Oh, we didn't communicate, and if that communication's not clear and put in the right way, so it's presented to the people in the right way, then it becomes. There's always, have you heard? And that's not what you want in a business. You want to make sure that everything is working in the right way and it's presented in the right way, I always think. And it's something that often in culture is often the core of a bad culture.
Very, very, very true. And often if it's not challenged, it's safe. It's how we've done it. It doesn't matter. We get on with it. We all know how we are. People can do whatever they like and get away with it. And management, that it doesn't break. But as soon as change comes along, there's a merger, there's an acquisition, a new manager is brought in, new leadership has taken place. So once change hits culture, then it unveils, isn't it? So that's why I suppose my work is the two, is the change and it's the culture, because your culture is tested by change. If it's robust enough and change comes along, it will stand, it will scale, it will grow, it will take it up and it will grow. But if it isn't, then it all comes apart, and then you find 70% of most mergers fail. 70%. Why? Culture misalignment. So big deals are done. 3 years later, 5 years later, they lose billions of money just because they didn't integrate properly.
Wow.
So it looks all good on paper, it looks all good on a spreadsheet, everything works, and they just collide, literally. They collide. I'm like, we can't have 2 managers and 2 this, and let's just make people redundant. Let's just, and no one takes time to really look at the integration. How, not a case of this is how we've done it, come and merge into mine, or let's merge into yours. Well, create a new norm, form a new culture, because you're bringing 2 worlds together. It's like a marriage. You have to create a new home. So I think for me, I keep championing change and culture, because change is inevitable. It comes, and sometimes it's not something we've predicted. It's not something we've put there. So if you don't have a good enough culture that can withstand the change, it can affect your organizational growth.
Recently, it's one thing that I don't like when I hear about acquisitions or merge or someone buying another companies. Recently, again, I heard about a lady. She had over 30 years, the company that they were, and the new people came and literally they clear all the staff, everybody. And I think, as far as I understand, they hire new people. And, my initial thought was like, why would you do that straight away? And you leave all these people, and especially some of them obviously sounds like it was a company that people spend lots of their years, which means maybe it was a good place.
Yes.
So I don't mind, of course, companies to grow and to happen all this, but that was really shocking for me when I heard, and I said, I really don't get it. Obviously, I'm not on that side to buy a business and to have the other mindset, or maybe businesses, when they do that, they
but then it's like buying the name, isn't it? It's buying the name and thinking, well, everything that's associated with that business, we like that.
Yeah.
But we don't need the people.
Sometimes they're just buying the company out. Yeah. They're buying it to shut it down. That's what the buying is for.
Yeah, that's that as well.
It's a competition, and they're just silencing the competition. So it depends on what it is. Sometimes that's what it is. It's just an aggressive acquisition to shut it down. So that's what they're going to do. They're just going to phase it out and take in what they want. But I think when there's a merge for growth, that's where integration then has to be done significantly on the top, not an afterthought. It's not something you do after. You have to think before you even merge if it would work, if the people would work together. Because I've seen some you go into and they've moved them into the same office, and there's a divide. You're there and we're there. Because it's supposed to be one organization.
Yeah.
I never forget, even with the ambulance service, there were a couple of stations you would go to, and these people were still wearing their old uniform. They refused to change into the new uniform because, as far as they're concerned, we're still West Kent, we're still this.
No,
So you have, so even though the organization has rebranded, brought 4 companies together to become one, the people refused to shift.
Wow.
Refused.
Wow.
So there's a lot of changing of hearts and minds, smooshing and meeting and understanding. So it's not just a case of you will do it, you will, because you would lose the talents, they would leave. And most times it's the people who are the talent, the big good ones are the ones that leave first because they have options.
Because they're so good at their job.
Yes, they're good. They have options. They can go.
Yeah.
But then you're left with those who don't know how to do the job, which then devalues your own enterprise. So any way you look at it, you're at loss if you don't integrate properly. So it's important to take the time with changing hearts and minds. Oh my God, that's why I love my teas and coffee. You have to have a lot of teas and coffees with people to convince them.
But it's about to talk to them, to make them to understand what it is. Because sometimes if you throw the bomb, something is happening. They might be, all of us react different.
Yes, no one wants change if we can use it. So it's a case of, again, if I can understand where you're coming from, what is it you want out of the organization? Why are you here? And align that with why the organization exists. Surely you'd be interested. Yeah. Surely you would want to stay on. Sure, you see, so it's taking that time to do that for people.
Yeah.
So basically your path, slowly and steady, take you to have that dream job.
Yes.
And that was, I assume, the kickoff for your most of your career, let's say, what you're doing.
Yes. So I think I found myself in the complexity of organizational development because it's not one thing. It's a lot of things, but it comes back to one thing, which is bringing structure to ambition. So I can look at someone's ambition and work out the structure to help you get there, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
So that's where I'm at now with my own business, is doing that for my clients, and mostly I find that it's boards or C-suite leaders or visionary leaders who have an ambition and they know what they want, they know how they can do it, but they just need the structure to be able to get there, and then that's where I come.
Yeah, well, it's a really interesting example as well, isn't it? Because it's something looking at the moment, and I look at it and I think, how do you get to that structure? You know how you want. Yeah, let's say you have an idea and you've got that idea, and then you're going to give a particular service or you're going to produce something. So you need all these different parts, and also you need to think about, if you're going to start with a small organization with maybe 5 people, and then how you then grow that from 5 people to 10 people to 20 people to 30 people, and how you get that situation. Because as you grow, 1 or 2 people can know how to do that. But as soon as it becomes 10, you need other people around the organization to make sure it still functions. And then as you go to the next level, you need, it's like almost like in a theatre, you've got an extra row of seats. And as you go up, it sort of gets further and further. But you've got to make sure that at each level, you've got the spokes in the wheel to make sure, otherwise it just falls apart.
Yeah. And you must come back to redefine. Has work changed? Now that we're this size, what is work at this level? We can't just do what we did. You can't just say, okay, this is how I make tea. If I'm making a pot of tea for 1 versus I'm making a pot of tea for 10, is it the same? At what point does it shift? At what point? Is it when you get to 11? Is that the tipping point where, okay, I can no longer use a pot and now need to use a flask?
Yeah.
It's those questions. That's where that structure is. So then you know that for every 10, it's 1 pot. After 10, it has to be a flask. Do you see what I mean? It's just those little structures that I can then bring in to help you with that scaling.
Yeah, and that's such an important aspect, isn't it? As a business is structured and growth. Yeah. Escape to luxury at Hempstead House Hotel and Spa, an elegant country house hotel in Bapchild, near Sittingbourne, Kent. Relax with indulgent spa treatments. Dine in style with exquisite cuisine. Perfect for getaways, weddings and events. Experience luxury in the heart of Kent. Book your stay today.
Be the first to discover Kent's best events all in one free app. What's On in Kent is a new and rapidly growing app where you can find days out information, places to eat, festivals, concerts, markets, and much more around you. Just with few clicks on your phone or computer, you can stay updated with real-time info and explore events across Kent. Don't even think twice. Just download. It's free. How all this business that you've got bring you to become international speaker and to go all these amazing places, and how people found you and how all this happened?
Okay. In the world of events, I suppose, because I did mention earlier about doing events, I've done events in a couple of countries, and I think I got to the stage where I remember coming home and I said to my husband, I said, I no longer want to hold the door for people. I want to walk through those doors. Because your job is to facilitate these connections. My job is to make it happen for people. But I think I got to the point where I thought, I've been around long enough. I have something to say. And I want to say it. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So, yes, I create stages and I call speakers in. Why can't I put myself on my own stage? So those sort of questions started coming about, and I thought I'll give it a go. I've got nothing to lose. So that's how I started off. And I remember one of a conference producer I worked with who said to me, "You're very good at asking questions. You'll be a very good moderator." Because as part of my job as a consultant, you have to ask questions to be able to unpack things, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I started off with moderating panels, and I could. I think it was a case of a moderator didn't turn up for one of our high-level events, and I had to go on stage to do it. No prep, nothing. But obviously, I designed the event, so I know the script. I know what I'm trying to achieve. I know what that's about. I know what the client is after. So I jumped on and just treated it as though I was in a boardroom.
Yeah.
Just asking questions. They're leaders, aren't they? So it's not different if you think about it.
Yeah, exactly.
So I ask a question and you listen to the answer and you draw the next question from it, and you gain who they are and why are you here and what are you trying to achieve. And that was how it started with the moderation, and I enjoyed it, and I achieved the goal of that panel, which is whatever that was. So I thought, okay, let's try it again. Maybe it was a fluke. Let's try again. Try it again. It worked, and I thought, okay, I can do this, and that was it. So I started to moderate panels. And then, of course, the opportunity came to speak on a panel. Okay, and I thought, okay, sure, as long as you ask the right questions. But then it moved on from that. Opportunities came to do keynote speeches. And, of course, the panic sets in and you're thinking, what do I know that I'm going to say? And then you get on stage and you allow it to flow, and it flows and the message comes out. But I think I would say for me personally, being able to, back to that first principles foundation again, unpack myself, my expertise, my experience, my intention, and bring it back to say, why am I here? What's my purpose for this stage? What are these people gathering for? What do they want? I can then speak to that, if that makes sense. So, but it took a while to be able to narrow down what my message is, what voice. Because you can be anything.
Yeah, but sounds like you've got lots of messages that you can share and say, talking about your experience. Because again, maybe I'm going to go back to your childhood and young ages, but what you were experiencing and what you've seen, I'm pretty sure that shape you as well and your mindset going forward. And I love when you said, I like to say yes to the things, because these are the different opportunities that. And when you said that you were doing events international, how you do an event internationally? Which countries? I would say maybe Nigeria.
Yeah.
And I would say maybe you had some connections there, or people can help you, or how you arrange one event that you have to do in Nigeria.
Here's the mystery called intention, the power of intention. I am a strong believer, and I believe that I have access to anything I want. So I was in my cake shop, which we will talk about probably, making my cakes, and I had prayed and desired to take my event planning skills. I was doing weddings, doing large events. I was, doing my stuff in my local area, but I wanted more. I wanted more. I'm always someone who wants to stretch myself to see what more. I want to know what the limit is. I haven't met it yet.
That's why one of your taglines is "Be more."
Yes, exactly. So I like stretching myself. So I remember thinking, if I can do anything anywhere, what would I want? I said, okay, I'm from Nigeria and I want to do something in Nigeria. I want a footprint in Nigeria and I want to do events in Nigeria and I want to do events in the oil and gas space. That was my intention and I wrote it down. No connection.
Which is amazing because
in your cake shop.
I love that. It's a great thing.
There's no connection. I like to prove
that can happen.
Yeah. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, exactly.
They have nothing to lose if you think about it. There's nothing. Nothing. So it was just an intention. I put it out there, and I kid you not. I was in my cake shop when the opportunity met me in my cake shop in my apron. So it's not like I bid for the job or whatever. The opportunity literally came to me.
Amazing.
And when it came, it was like, okay, is this real? Yeah, sure. You get to go to Nigeria and do blah, blah, blah. I was like, am I going to go and get kidnapped? What's this? This good. But yeah, yes, let's go. And like a silly child, I went and I can't say anything beyond it's the power of intention. If you want it, you can have it. And that's the truth. But you do what it takes to get to what you want. But I think that the thing is being clear on the intention. Why do I want it? Why? I wanted to get to the heights of it. So I get to be involved in an event that is held at the State House, the presidential house of the country, as an event owned by the president of the country. And I get to say that I did that. Why? Because I wanted to. Why not? The people who are doing it haven't got two heads. I can do it too. And I think that's always been my, shall I say, mantra.
But you're giving them a purpose as well. If you're doing something, you're offering them something they haven't thought about.
Yeah.
And when you're thinking outside that initial window, it's opening up opportunities for them to do something different and to grow in a different way.
Big time.
And that's it. That's the purpose, isn't it? At the end of the day. So you've got an intention to do it, and then there's a purpose behind it, and that purpose then allows it to happen and to work.
Big time.
And that's the key, really,
Big
isn't
time. I if there's anything I've learned is to focus on my value. Always know what my value is. Always know what I'm offering. I always want, even in every post, I cross-check. The reader who's going to take the time, 1 minute, 2 minutes of the time to read this post, what are they going to get out of it? I don't want to occupy space. I want to make an impact. So I make sure that any engagement has value. No matter how small, but at least there's something I'm offering. So I think in the event space, I really wanted to make my mark. I wanted events to have a purpose. I wanted it to meet a need. I didn't want to gather people for gathering's sake. Let's figure out what the event strategy is. Why are we meeting? Why would people pay money to attend this event? Why would people pay money to sponsor this event? Why will people pay money to exhibit at this event? If we can figure out what they want and use the platform to meet their needs, then we're winning. So I think for me, it comes back to that structure to ambition, isn't it?
It really is.
I know that, obviously, I know about you since last year, and we get connected on LinkedIn, and I've seen that you are having is it every year, a really big event in Ashford?
Yes, Imperial Gala.
What is this gala?
Oh, gosh.
Because I've seen incredible videos and photos. I think we have to.
Let's
yes.
make sure you're there this year. Imperial Gala is literally, it's back to that connection. Access is an asset. When I've done events for so many years, and I realize that the connections that you make can run beyond business to even personal. I've seen people who've said to me, based on someone they met, they came for one of my business events, and they met someone who told them something that helps them in their marriage. And you're thinking, how?
Sorry.
But it does happen.
Yeah.
So you start to look at it and you're thinking, it is access, isn't it? It's access to people, back to your energy meeting my energy, isn't it? So events create a platform where access takes place, where people who normally I wouldn't run into, I might bump into them. People who normally we've got nothing in common, but we get a chance to meet, to sit next to each other, to share a coffee together. So events for me is a business tool. Let's put it that way. Now, Empower Gala as a platform is a business tool to connect public sector, private sector, and non-profits, so say charities or civil world, so to speak. Usually you have business events for business people. Charity events for charity people. Public sector events for public sector. But as a business person, I want to service the public sector. The charity sector needs me to have their charity. Do you see what I mean? Because without it,
doesn't work. Yeah.
So it's a platform that brings us all together. But then you look at culture. Culture is usually a difference. You know, when you say your culture is different from my culture, it's a difference. And we identify what the difference is. And we say, okay, let's embrace the difference. What if we put that difference on the forefront and we trade with culture? What if the thing that scares us, what if we confront it in a social space that is a platform that's bringing us together, but we're not worried about how am I going to be perceived. You're showing up as you are. Does that make sense? So it gives you an opportunity to not only choose to be authentic, but you have to be authentic because this is the space where you can really show your culture. So I noticed that I had applied for, or I get nominated for a lot of awards in Kent. Every year you get these nominations, they come through. Some you ignore, some you respond to, but I could get as far as finalist. And I keep thinking, why am I always a finalist? Why finalist? And then you look at the winners, they all don't look like me. Do you see what I mean? It's not an intention, but it just happens every time. It doesn't matter who's running the events. But then if you look at who is running the events, who are the judging panel, it reflects the winners. That's just how we are.
It is.
It's just how we are.
So
if we don't challenge the status quo and just mix it up a bit, same old keeps happening. Again, there's a problem. I want to solve the problem. Hence Empower Gala. It's not a competitive, it has an award attached to it, which is the Black Global Recognition Award, but it's not a competitive award. It's a recognition award. So if someone takes the time to nominate another person, they've done something that made someone else take the time to do it. Let's explore what that is. Because sometimes business owners don't even have the time to do all this. It's a lot of paperwork sometimes. And then for what? Then you get there and then you're knocked back. And what impact does that have on you? So the recognition awards are there. We've got the 7 criteria. It literally, what it focuses on is mobility, economic movement. So anybody that is doing anything around to help the economy move, anybody that's doing anything, anyone can nominate them. Doesn't matter where from. And then they get a letter, they submit their bio, and they're recognized. Do you see what I mean? So, but then we come in with the opportunity of we're all different. We know we are different. We're not trying to pretend that we're not different. But we have the opportunity to celebrate our differences, to connect, and to form new collaborations to advance the economy.
Which sounds amazing.
I mean, that's one of the biggest things I think today is that there is a huge difference between like the establishment and what was there in the past and the legacy behind that and the fact that like this whole interconnection between all of us around the world and joining together and working together as a team and getting on and recognizing people again. I mean, you're recognizing people's values and their independence, and it doesn't matter what their color is, their accent, it matters nothing. But we're all valuable people who can actually work together. And actually, as you get to know someone from every different culture, I always think one of the great things about when we have an opportunity to travel and you actually talk to people in those individual countries and you get to know a little bit about them, then you understand how we can all dovetail together. And everyone sees everyone else's sort of opportunities rather than polarizing us into a certain, like that situation. And it's to recognise that, I think, is a huge step. And as a world, we need to continue to grow that, don't we?
Yeah. And this is what I accept a bit more as awards, because I don't get how all this works in this awards world. Even as we are, I don't know how many emails I delete that, we've got this awards and we want to add you there, and I have to pay for them to put my name somewhere.
Exactly.
This is the stupid thing I ever heard.
It's been commercialized.
I mean, if it's an award, this is the way. Someone somewhere seen you for something and they will say something good for you. And then should be the way how, I don't know, the things. Even if someone actually recognizes you, that's the award that you've got, isn't it? It's not about something you're going to take home or whatever. If you make the impact for someone. But I can't believe how many places they exist and people are doing. That's why now and then you've seen awards for this, awards for that, and I think that's why people as well, they don't take them that much. And even someone like you, who is obviously proven successful entrepreneur, you said sometimes I just delete them. But I don't get at all this pay for you to be on the categories. Really, thank you very much.
It's a commercialization of it, isn't it? At the end of the day, people are hustling. It's a business for them.
Yeah, it is. That's exactly what they're doing.
Tell us a little bit. Obviously, you told us a bit, but to our listeners about the cake business. Yes. I love that. How that idea came.
Okay. With cakes, again, because I was exposed to it, like I said, growing up, but it must have been my daughter's first birthday, my first child's birthday, and I couldn't find anywhere to give me what I wanted. I knew what I wanted, and there was no one to give it to me. So I went to a charity shop on the high street in Ashford, and I bought a £2 book. I still have it. I bought a £2 recipe book, and I thought, it's flour, sugar, and egg, isn't it? So I bought my ingredients and I made her birthday cake. It was a little princess cake, all pink and white with the flowers. It was, looking at it now, I wouldn't say lovely, but at the time it was. Yeah. And all I guess enjoyed it. I remember making the cake. There was no cream in the cake. It was just cake. That's how organic, shall I say, it was. But then I carried on making cakes from there. As you do, I made for friends. I just was making cakes for myself, gifting cakes as I was on maternity leave. And I'm not someone who can keep idle. That's the problem. If I'm not making money, I'm spending it. So I kept myself busy. It was a beautiful hobby to make cakes, and I was just gifting it. And then maybe a friend would ask me to make a cake, and they'd just pay me for the ingredients. And it kept happening to the point where friends of friends now started to ask me for cakes. And these are people I didn't know. So I had to look into getting a food license and, putting paperwork in place. And so I set up my little sole trader cake thing. I was just doing it on the side at home. I went back to work, but then the cake orders kept coming. Then I started making cake for people at work. And, it just grew and grew and grew and grew. And then I had my third child. So this has happened over years now. And then I had my third child. The cost of going back to work would have meant all my wages just for childcare plus an extra £90, if that makes sense. So that's the after-school clubs, the breakfast clubs, because don't forget my job. I travel around, so I need wraparound care. I don't have any family around to help me, and they were little. So it came to the point where it didn't make sense to go back to work. So I needed to take a career break, which I did. So I can't keep still. I carried on making cakes. I had taken over the study, taken over the dining room. We barely had any kitchen left. And my husband said, you need to take this out of the house. I will pay for you to have a shop. Just go away. So we set up the first... the cake shop, and moved out. And again, all self-taught at this time. But before I opened the shop, I went for a quick crash diploma, sugarcraft diploma. So of course, as you do. So what's the highest qualification I can get? Sugarcraft diploma. Yes, I have a sugarcraft diploma. I went and did it and got it. So and it made a difference because it meant I could work quicker. I was more commercial in my designs and things. So that's how I did with the cakes, and I started making huge wedding cakes. And I just wanted to tell a story with cakes. So I wanted to make hanging cakes. I remember that. I wanted to make a hanging cake. I was like, why not? I love chandeliers. I want something that hangs. Oh my God. I researched, and I found a hanger, and I found, let's cut long story short, I made an upside down hanging cake for a James Bond themed wedding.
Wow.
And I was like, that's it. Blessing, you can do anything now.
If you manage. Yeah. My achievement was... what was the train? Thomas the train engine. That was my biggest achievement, I would say. But wow, hanging.
No, with cakes, I remember going for exhibitions, and everyone would be like, wow, I did this massive cone cake with cascading butterflies. No one would buy. They just like art pieces, and the magazines always wanted pictures. And I thought, I need to pay my bills, man. You know, I love the fame, but I need to make money. So I had to learn to make both the epic stuff, but also make the traditional stuff that people wanted, the 3D. So every exhibition I'll have one masterpiece, and then I'll have maybe 4 typical with a bit of Blair touch on it. And I think that's the thing you learn in business is your idea, what you want, is it viable? You have to ask that question. Just because something is nice to do, just because you can do it, doesn't mean you should in business. If you're thinking enterprise, you must think about your bottom line. You must be able to find a bridge between where you are and what your market needs. And I had to learn that very quickly. Because even though I was creating all this magic, it was too far away for my Kent audience. So, but by coming back with traditional Kent, typical traditional cakes, you'd find that maybe I'll get in any exhibition, if there's a wedding dress, I've seen that a wedding supplier I would design a cake to match that wedding dress. So we're exhibiting not too far from each other. Then when people see the cake and they see the dress, I'm buying that dress, I must buy this cake. It started to work. The people who just want the normal 3-tier, 4-tier cake, I have that too. But if you want magic, I've got that too. So with time, I could keep my lights on because I was selling the traditional cakes, but then there were the 1 or 2 people who were coming from further afield. You know, I've delivered cakes to Sion Park, I've delivered cakes to Highland. I've gone further afield, you know, with cakes. And I've got swings and hangers and all whatnot. And, you know, I can do whatever it is, you know, and I love it. It's those edible experiences where you
But it's remarkable. But that's remarkable to do all that. That creativity came out of one. I just need to make a birthday cake.
And that's what enterprise is.
It really is.
If you seek to solve a problem, you create yourself a
massive
massive impact.
Definition of it.
I didn't carry on. I read this. I started with the same reason. My son was born, and I knew that for his birthday I want something really cool, and I couldn't find. So I said, okay, I'll start. And I was literally practicing the same way. Oh, one of my friends got birthday. Let's do a cake. And gifting. I managed to make a Winnie the Pooh really cool cake. Everybody loved it. And it was maternity time, kind of. And and after that, I always keep doing for friends and etc. But it was the moment to take 1 second puff and I didn't carry it on.
And for me, that's what I'm saying. I'm at the place now where it's a case of, I can be satisfied with saying I've done that. Or can I do more? And that's where I'm at.
You see, you're almost thinking about reopening and starting again.
I will. But I'll do it differently. You know, I because I've got this going, I wouldn't be in the kitchen, but I'll be in the design. You know, so that's the thing. It's the choices we make, and it's the opportunities we give ourselves that determine in 5 years what it's going to look like. As long as you don't quit, you still are in the race, isn't it?
Exactly.
You still stand the chance. So there's some things that I've been there, done it, and okay, I'm not going back to it. That's fine. But I think cakes for me is my love language. I see myself retiring in my rocking chair and still having a cake business. That's
How you see that?
that's for me it's there's a ministry, there's a marketplace ministry for me with cakes. So I'm in the position to merge my worlds, to bring it all together, and I want to create a female-led enterprise through cakes. I think it's an easy way to shift marginalized women economically, and I think that's what I want to do with it. So I'm shifting its purpose.
Sounds a really amazing
Shifting
idea.
its purpose
I like
a little
that.
bit.
I really like that.
So that's watch this space.
We will definitely. Honestly, you've got such a colorful career, and everything is so much full of passion. If I must be honest, I would say that you're always driven by that, and always. Who were your mentors, except your parents?
Wow.
Did you had any people that you met on your path, and they really play a big role?
That's a very interesting question. I have a coach, and I have a business mentor as well.
Wow.
I don't think you can play big without having accountability partners.
Can I be honest? I would never thought that you've got, because I would say you are that role and you are that person. And once again, you surprise me and you change my mind about the coaches, because I had very different opinion about that. But once again, one successful person obviously needs.
You do, because yes, I bring structure to people's ambition. Physician, heal thyself. Who is bringing structure to mine? So I have two different women who see the world differently, who I can go to with the same thing and have two different results, and then I decide.
It's incredible. And this is a good advice and reminder to everybody, that because I was a person that I was always thinking why the world needs so many coaches and people advising, but we had here one or two coaches and they really shift my...
Yes, it's important.
Yes. And
it helps you get to where you're going quicker. Let's put it that way. Because I strongly believe, how easy can you access the information you need to make the decision to get to where you want to go? Do I need to go and read a book, 3 books, then understand it, then... Or is there someone who's walked the road?
Yeah, well, that's often the way.
Help.
Yeah, they're the way, the people who have actually walked that road, and they can give you those... and that's one of the things the podcast brings out is obviously sharing the stories of people who have been on the journey, and every journey that we've listened to and learning even today, there's so many aspects that we can all learn from it, and that becomes a natural pathway, and it's always the drive, the ambition. That's one thing, but it's like you've said today so many times, the structure of how you do it is so important, and we all need a structure, even though we might know and we think we know, but like, how do you get that way? And that's where a mentor definitely is able to really give a help, isn't it?
It's very important to make sure it's someone who's navigated the waters that you're in, so that when they're speaking to you from, I'm out of it, you can. Because if you're speaking to someone who hasn't gone through those waters, what are they going to tell you? You wouldn't even listen to what they're saying. So if you're lucky enough to have that, I think personal and then professional is important. I wouldn't use the same person for both. Because then the professional person can say, that's a personal problem, I don't want to talk about that. Let's stick to this. And the professional can say, this is a personal problem you're bringing into work.
Yeah.
Do you see? So it helps. For someone like me that spins a lot of plates, I sometimes lose sight of what is personal and what is professional. Sometimes I think I have a professional problem, but actually it's a personal problem, and the other way around too. So being able to differentiate from that can help me compartmentalize and then solve my problems to be able to get through.
Because there's a big difference really between strategy, self-awareness, self-discipline, and confidence.
Big time.
Those two sectors, isn't it? The personality and the business side.
And you can have all the confidence in the world. You can have all the competence as well. Competence is, I know how to do it. Confidence, I know I can do it. But then there's that third C, which is courage, to actually step out
and do it
with the skill you have. with the experience you have, with the oomph you have, but actually, you need the courage. So sometimes we all lack in that third one. We do the self-help work. We read the books. We do that. We're good to go. We're confident. We've got the skill. We've got the experience. So that's
that's absolutely
this
true.
is where it comes someone to come and give a sidekick.
Yes.
Either coach, either good friend, either entrepreneur, I don't know, just someone appear in your life.
Yeah, sometimes you just need someone to pull you over that line, don't you?
That's it. Because once you're over the line, you can go.
Yeah,
you just
exactly.
need that first step. It's like riding a bike, isn't it? Once you
let go of the bike and you're riding, and away you go, and off, and that's it.
Yeah, then you're like, oh yes, I can.
Yeah.
So sometimes that's what you need.
As a mother of 3 girls, what do you think? Would you be again a person that will try to advise them which path to go, what to do, or you will leave them to do their own choices and try to? Because obviously you're a person that I assume they can work with you or they can come, but would you? Not to push, it's not the right word. Would you ask them to do that or you leave them absolutely?
That's a question I ask and answer every day. So that's an easy one for me. I strongly believe in train up a child in the way they should go, not the way I want them to go. So there is a way they should go. My job as a parent is to pay attention to figure that out. I lost a lot of time because my parents said, this is the way you have to go. They didn't pay attention to me, to who I was or what I was good at. If they were paying attention to what was happening around me, I wouldn't have lost maybe 5-6 years of my life trying to be who I wasn't. So as parents, it's our job to pay attention to who they are. They are already. Your job is to help them become more of who they already are, not to tell them who they're supposed to be.
Okay.
So for me, I'm paying attention. I'm listening. I'm asking. I'm exposing them. I'm just throwing the options at them and seeing what they pick up. So I'm not telling them who they're supposed to be. My job is to help them be more of whoever they already are, because they already are it. It's just my job is to create an enabling environment for them. So I expose them individually. I take them with me when I can. I take them collectively. I mix it up a bit because the dynamics change when the 3 of them are together, when 2 of them are together, when one of them, the dynamics change and the opportunities change. And of course, the youngest one will always be the baby and the oldest will always do everything. But, when I'm with the youngest one, she has to do it, and then she can figure out, oh, I like this, or oh, this isn't for me, so I pay attention, and my job is to create an environment for them to explore. And I might set specific parameters to say, this is not an option, you must do blah, 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 because the world demands it. You're going to study, you go to school, but what you study is your choice. Do you see what I mean? How you study it is your choice. I can present the options for you. I can help you get work placements. I can help you do whatever, but you tell me what you need me to do. So my stance is train up a child in the way they ought to go, the way they should go. So my job is to figure out what that is.
It's interesting as well. And also when you think, obviously, you're giving those examples and empowering the future for them. But also, as you've proved, it's not defined. Because even if you go down the path to that point, there's actually other opportunities that come to you in life. And we evolve as we go through life and we change and things around us change, whether it's where we're living, whether the cultures change, whether the world around us changes, and we have to. It's our ability to adapt, and that's one of the key things, isn't it? It's just our ability to change and adapt accordingly. Because otherwise, if we just go down the same way, we go nowhere.
It's about equipping them with self-agency. I say to them a lot: you are the change you seek. You have to know that you are. If you see something and you don't like it, it's up to you to make that change. Even at school, at home. Whatever. Don't see a mess on the floor and walk past it and go, that mess. No. If you don't know to do it from home, you're not going to know to do it in the workplace. If you don't know to push yourself forward with your own ambition, it's no one's job to. It's not my job to do it. I've got mine to do. So I think it's important as parents that we we know what our boundaries are, if that makes sense. But at the same time, don't live your dreams, because my parents tried to live their dreams through me, trying to make me a doctor. My mom kept saying, oh, I didn't get the chance to be educated. You have the chance to be, so therefore you are going to. You put that pressure on, you know, and I think they're quite fortunate that they don't have that from me. But at the same time, it's also good when you're in an environment where there's a high expectation of you, because it helps you yourself, as long as it's a healthy expectation. So I think, yes, it's that balance for me. And with them, I want them to be whoever it is, as many of themselves as they can be, in whatever versions.
Yeah, but what is next for you? What is coming for you this year? Lots of traveling?
You see, last year and the year before was a lot of traveling. This year is actually the opposite. It's a lot of non-traveling. I am saying a no to a lot of traveling because my girls are at that stage where I need to be present. They need to see me. I'm doing a lot with them in mind. I don't want them to be reading about me on Google. I want them to
see you
experience life with me. So I'm doing less traveling and doing more things locally where I can engage them, I can involve them. Because that's the stage of the life I'm at now, because they're at that point where they need to start making decisions.
Yeah.
And again, you can't be what you can't see. So there's no point in them going to look elsewhere when they've got me. So I'm taking that on quite seriously. And then for me, this message about change and culture and post-merger integration and succession planning, I really want to hone it down here in Kent and obviously further afield. So what's next for me is to run my culture clinics, where I talk about everything we talked about here to help organizations prepare for change, and also put structures in place to help them through change. And the work I'm doing with the IOD as well. I'm also a business champion with Medway Creative. So, you know, this is all voluntary stuff, but still very impactful. So I want to make sure I extend myself as much as I can to make an impact. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Lee, thank you so much. What an amazing...
Great. Thank you for sharing and being so open and honest about, lots of details and little things, which... This is what we talk here. And once again, an example that everything is possible. Just you have to show up. You have to say yes and jump to do it. Yeah, absolutely pleasure having you around. And we're going to check the details for the Gala.
Yeah, exactly. That's amazing.
To come to experience that.
To have you there.
Thank you, Lee. Well, thank you so much for sharing everything today. It's been a real inspiration to everyone, I'm sure, as you listened. If you have enjoyed today's episode, we would ask you, as always, to give us a like if you're watching on YouTube. If you're following us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, please do follow us. And we hope to see you very soon. Thank you very much for watching. Take care, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.